Hi, and welcome to the Fiscal Year 2015 Family Self-Sufficient Program NOFA webcast. My name is Imaris Rodriguez. I'm with the Housing Choice Voucher Management and Operations Division. And today with me, I have my colleague Darren Dorset, also with the Housing Choice Voucher Management and Operations Division. Today, we're going to be walking you through the Fiscal Year 2015 FSS NOFA. We're going to be highlighting major aspects of the NOFA. However, we do encourage you to read the NOFA fully. And not also the program NOFA, but also the 2015 general section. So let's get started. So let's start with an overview of the NOFA. The due date you may find in the first page of the NOFA. But however, it will be no less than 30 days from the NOFA publication date. And an important aspect is that applications must be received and validated by grants.gov by the deadline date and time. This is a very important part of the process, which we will discuss later on in the presentation. Like we mentioned at the beginning, please read the entire NOFA carefully. We are only going to be highlighting some aspects of the NOFA. So please read that NOFA carefully, and also the Fiscal Year 2015 general section. And here you can see where you can access a copy of the NOFA and of the general section. You can access those on grants.gov, or you can also go to HUD's website, and the link to the address where you can find the NOFAs is on the slide. Okay, so let's talk about the major changes in this Fiscal Year 2015 NOFA. As you can see here, there's no longer a RAD priority. Under the Fiscal Year 2014 FSS NOFA, PHAs that had committed to provide vouchers under RAD's Choice Mobility Commitment to the covered PVRA project of a PHA or mod rehab owner that did not have a voucher program were given priority for new FSS positions. This is no longer the case under the Fiscal Year 2015 NOFA. And you may have noticed that such a priority was also removed from the recently published RAD notice. We found in 2014 that of 751 eligible applicants, only 2 were found by HUD to be eligible for this priority. And we also did not have sufficient resources to fund any PHAs that fell under this RAD priority funding category in 2014, and therefore it was removed from this NOFA. Another major change that you will notice in the NOFA is that now PVRA residents, whether they're affected by RAD or not, may enroll in the FSS program, and this is as a result of a change in the Fiscal Year 2015 appropriations law. Also, funds under this NOFA may be used to serve such residents, such PVRA residents, whether they're affected by RAD or not. Additionally, PVRA owners can now run their own FSS program. However, they're not eligible to compete for funding under this NOFA. Another major change is that there is a new funding category, and this new funding category is for part-time renewal positions that are converting to a full-time position. And we will get into more detail regarding this funding category later on in the presentation. Lastly, there was a change in the logic model reporting, specifically the deadline for submission of the annual performance report, which is basically the updated logic model, and the reporting period. And I will also go into more detail later on. This is just to give you an overview of the major changes of the NOFA. Okay, so let's talk about eligible applicants. Because funding is limited under this NOFA, applicants will only be eligible for funding if they meet one of the following criteria. The applicant was funded under any of the Fiscal Year 2012, 13, and or 14 FSS NOFAs. This means that if your agency was last funded for FSS in fiscal year 2012, but you were not funded in 13 or 14, you're still eligible to apply under this NOFA. However, there is just a small number of agencies or PHAs that were not funded in 2014. The other criteria for being an eligible applicant is that you received an FSS program through a transfer or consolidation from a PHA that was funded under such NOFAs. So if you have never been funded for FSS, but you inherited an FSS program through a transfer or consolidation, then you're eligible to apply under this NOFA. Okay, so let's get into joint applicants. As in fiscal year 2014, eligible applicants who previously applied jointly under the most recently funded NOFA may not apply separately. The reason for this policy is due to the potential effect allowing joint applicants to apply separately could have on the funding amount awarded to other PHAs. However, we do welcome feedback on whether such a policy is too restrictive, and any feedback can be directed to fss@hud.gov. The target period. The target period for this NOFA will be June 1st, 2014 through May 31st, 2015. And as in the past, this is the period HUD uses to review data in PIC to verify the number of participating families and other relevant information. The number of families served, the eligibility is still going to be based on this number, which is basically the number of FSS program participants in the applicant's FSS program during the target period. The formula continues to remain the same as in prior years. That is, 15 families supports 1 part-time position, 25 families supports 1 full-time position, and an additional 50 families to support each additional position beyond the first full-time position. As in prior years, there is a table in the NOFA that illustrates this point. This year, the formula will be applied to an applicant's FSS families overall. And this is important because in fiscal year 2014, the NOFA applied the formula in 2 different ways. It applied it to an applicant's FSS families overall and to an applicant's FSS families separately, meaning the public housing families and the housing choice voucher families. And whichever calculation yielded the highest number of renewal positions was the calculation to be used. Fiscal year 2014 was a transitional period where FSS funding was combined, which is the reason for this calculation. Here you can see a representation of what I just talked about. In this example, PHA had 28 housing choice voucher FSS families during 2014. It had 25 public housing FSS families during 2014. This meant that the calculation applied to the these PHA's families separately resulted in eligibility of 2 full-time renewal FSS coordinators, meaning that the 25 public housing FSS families supported 1 full-time position, and the 28 housing choice voucher FSS families supported 1 full-time position. The formula applied to the FSS applicants' families overall resulted in eligibility of only 1 full-time renewal FSS coordinator position, because 53 only supports 1 full-time renewal position. In 2014, this PHA was funded for 2 full-time renewal FSS coordinators positions. In fiscal year 2015, as you can see, PHAA has 75 FSS families in their program, which means that they continue to be eligible for the 2 full-time renewal FSS coordinator positions. So how does this formula apply to those applicants who were funded in 2014 for part-time positions beyond the initial position, meaning they were funded for 1.5, 2.5, 3.5 positions, and so on? If either of the two conditions below are met, the applicant will be eligible for the cap on number of renewal positions and the cap on the funding amount for those renewal positions. The conditions are the following. The applicant has at least the same number of FSS families as in fiscal year 14, or the applicant has at least the number of FSS families required for the next full-time position. However, in 2016, the applicant will need to increase the number of FSS families in its program to the number of families required for the next full-time position to continue to be eligible for the same number of renewal positions and funding amount. And let's go through an example to try to illustrate this policy. As you can see here, PHAA was funded in 2014 for 1.5 positions at $89,000. PHAA had 68 FSS families during the fiscal year 14 target period, and they have 72 families during the fiscal year 15 target period. This year, meaning fiscal year 2015, PHAA will be eligible for 1.5 renewal positions at $89,000 because they have 72 FSS families in their program, which is more than what they had in fiscal year 14. In fiscal year 16, PHA will need to increase the number of FSS families to at least 75, which is the number for the next full-time position, to continue to be eligible for 1.5 renewal positions at $89,000. So let's talk about Appendix D. As in prior years, the number of FSS families in each eligible applicant's FSS program, as it is shown in PIC, is part of the NOFA as an appendix. Appendix D does not cover the full target period of June 1st, 2014 through May 31st, 2015, because the target period ends close to publication of the NOFA, and HUD needed the time to complete the PIC pool and perform any necessary data checks. However, we are not expecting that most applicants will see an impact in their eligibility as a result and won't need to submit documentation to correct the PIC data. And why does the target period end close to the publication of the NOFA? The reason for this is that we wanted to give those PHAs that needed to increase the number of families served to receive the same funding that they did in 2014, at least a year from publication of the 2014 NOFA, to show that increase in the number of FSS families. The Appendix D report also includes the following fields. It includes FSS co-applicants in the most recent funding year. It includes the number of FSS coordinators supported by PIC, which is used only for renewal positions. The number of FSS participants during the fiscal year 2014 NOFA's target period, and I'll get into more detail as to why that data point is there. The cap on number of renewal positions, and the cap on the funding amount for renewal positions. I also would like to note that any transfers are identified in bold under the PHA name column of the Appendix D report. If you inherited an FSS program through a transfer, then the divesting agency's caps, the cap on the number of renewal positions and the cap on the funding amount for renewal positions, were added to your caps. So let's talk about the cap on funding amount for renewal positions. This number includes the most recent FSS funding amount, specifically the amount funded under the fiscal year 2014 FSS NOFA, or the fiscal year 2013 or 2012 Public Housing FSS funding amount, plus the 2013 or 2012 HCV FSS funding amount as applicable. If funding was prorated under such NOFAs, the funding will be considered as the eligible amount before any proration. Let's see an example of this in this slide. As you can see, for this particular PHA, the amount was prorated. The funding amount under the 2013 HCV FSS NOFA was prorated from $69,000 to $67,839. It was not prorated under the 2012 Public Housing FSS NOFA. This applicant will be eligible for no more than $134,000 for renewal of these two positions, which means that we're using the eligible amount before proration for the 2013 HCV FSS NOFA. Number of FSS participants during the fiscal year 14 NOFA. This column is only applicable to eligible applicants whose cap on renewal positions includes a part-time position beyond the initial position, meaning that their cap is 1.5 or 2.5, etc. The information on this column is there to help the applicant assess whether PIC shows that they have enough FSS families to support their cap on number of renewal positions and their cap on funding amount. So let's see an illustration of this in this example. Here, PHA-A, the PHA-A's number of FSS coordinators supported by PIC is 2. The number of FSS participants, as shown in PIC during the 2015 target period, is 110, which is the same number of FSS participants that PHA had during the 2014 NOFA's target period. The cap on number of renewal positions is 2.5, and the cap on funding amount for renewal positions is $128,119. In this example, PHA-A is still eligible for 2.5 positions at over $128,000 because they have at least the same number of FSS families in their program than what they had under the 2014 competition. Now, in 2016, PHA-A will in this example will continue to be eligible for 2.5 positions at $128,119 as long as they continue to have 75 or more FSS families in their program. Let's talk about supporting documentation. All applicants must include documentation with their application to confirm the correct number of FSS program participants during the target period, only if any of these situations apply to the applicant. Number 1, you are requesting more renewal positions than the number of FSS coordinators supported by PIC data, and this number is listed in the PIC report. Your data is missing from the PIC report, but you are an eligible applicant. You are a tribe or TDHE. You are applying for funding under funding category 2 and or funding category 3. We'll get into those funding categories later on. And if you are a RAD PHA who converted FSS families under the public housing program to PVRA assistance during this NOFA's target period, you must include documentation only if you believe that these families are not reflected in the PIC report and any of the 4 situations which I just described applies to you. Otherwise, you do not need to submit supporting documentation. Let's see an example of this principle. In this example, the number of FSS participants, as shown in PIC, is 70 for this particular applicant. The number of FSS coordinators supported by the PIC data is 1. However, the cap on number of renewal positions for this particular applicant is 2. If this applicant does not submit supporting documentations, it means that they will lose funding. Therefore, this applicant must submit documentation showing that they have enough FSS participants in the target period to be funded for the full 2 positions. Let's go over the funding priority categories. There are 3 funding priority categories under the 2015 NOFA. The first one is renewal positions. The second funding priority category is a funding increase for eligible applicants increasing from a part-time renewal position to a full-time renewal position. The order of funding for each of the priority categories will be as follows. We will go through the first funding category, renewal positions. If we have enough funding left over after all renewal positions are funded, then we will go to funding category 2, which is the funding category that allows for a funding increase for those applicants that are going from a part-time renewal position to a full-time renewal position. If there is not enough funding to fund all renewal positions in funding category 1, then HUD will equally prorate each award, as we have done in the past. If we do get to funding category 2 and we do not have enough funding to fund all positions that have been requested in that funding category, then we will not move on to funding category 3. I should note that the second funding category is only applicable to applicants whose cap on number of renewal positions is 0.5, 1.5, 2.5, etc., which means that they're going from the 0.5 from the part-time position to a full-time position. And HUD will fund positions under this category, starting with applicants that have the highest client-to-staff ratio. The third funding category is for new positions. And like I mentioned, we will only get to this funding category if there is enough funding available after we fund all positions under funding categories 1 and 2. Applicants may only request and be funded for a new full-time position or positions under this category. No part-time positions will be funded here. And HUD will fund new positions under this category in a round-robin fashion, starting with applicants with the highest client-to-staff ratio, which basically shows the coordinators that have the highest caseload. Applicants need only submit one application, even if they are applying under more than one of the funding categories. So if you're applying under funding category 1 and 3, you only need to submit one application. The FSS application form, HUD 52651, will indicate to HUD what the applicant is applying for. So I encourage you to carefully read the instructions on how to fill form HUD 52651 so that it's clear to HUD what you're applying for. In 2014, the department announced its intent to use a rating and ranking factor, and we asked for feedback from stakeholders on our proposal. We will not implement the rating and ranking factor that we proposed under the fiscal year 2014 under this NOFA. However, we plan to continue to evaluate alternatives for rating and ranking applicants, which may be implemented starting with the 2016 FSS NOFA. Eligible activities remain the same as last year. I just wanted to note that funding under this NOFA may be used to serve both public housing FSS and HCV FSS participants. However, I would encourage you to read the NOFA for applicable restrictions to FSS funds awarded under the 13 or earlier NOFAs on this point. Ineligible activities also remain the same as last year. We did want to highlight the activity of performance of routine HCV or public housing program functions to enhance the effectiveness of FSS. The NOFA provides some clarity on this point, stating basically that this provision is to be employed only to the extent that these functions enhance and do not interfere with the FSS coordinator's ability to fully fulfill the role of the FSS program coordinator as his or her primary work. Additionally, performance of routine HCV and or public housing functions for non-FSS families does not enhance the effectiveness of the FSS program and is therefore an ineligible use of FSS funds. Participants moving between public housing and HCV. The participant will no longer need a new FSS contract. However, the PHA must continue to set up separate public housing and housing choice voucher escrow accounts for the participant. And there is more detail on this point under section 3C1C of the NOFA. Salary comparables. As in prior years, for all positions requested under this NOFA, evidence of salary comparability to similar positions in the local jurisdiction must be kept on file in the PHA office or Tribe TDHE, and HUD reserves the right to request the local comparables at any time. Salary caps continue to remain the same as in last year's. It's up to $69,000 in salary and fringe benefits for each full-time coordinator position, and up to $34,500 in salary and fringe benefits for each part-time position. Funding increases may not be requested under any other scenario except where an applicant is requesting a funding increase for a part-time renewal position that is increasing to a full-time renewal position under the second funding priority category. And in this case, the funding increase will be based on the applicant's request, subject to the salary cap of $69,000 for a full-time position. And now I will hand it over to my colleague, Darren Dorset, who will walk you through the end of the presentation. Thank you.
And thank you, Amharis. Next, we will discuss the threshold requirements of the FY 2015 FSS NOFA. First, there are two general section threshold requirements this year. First, all applications must be received by the application due date and/or the grace period that is provided. Secondly, all grantees or all applicants must have resolved their civil rights matters prior to the application deadline. There are no program-specific threshold requirements in this year's NOFA, and all applicants that do not meet the threshold requirements will not be evaluated. But please remember that the number of families served is an eligibility requirement. Other requirements. Similar to last year, the following general section requirements apply differently to the FSS NOFA this year. First, the pre-award accounting system. Applicants, please note that if the local field office determines that the applicant does not have a financial management system that meets federal standards, you might be considered to be a high-risk agency, and your local field office may require you to engage or to have a enter into a recovery agreement. Again, please note that not having locks or the lock system established is not considered to be high risk, and that will not exclude you from being eligible for this NOFA. Secondly, debarments and suspensions. So please note that this requirement does not apply directly to eligible applicants under this NOFA. However, please note that no persons employed or contracted by the applicant should appear on the Excluded Parties Listing System, or EPLS. Next, conducting business in accordance with ethical standards or the Code of Conduct. Similar to previous years, all applicants are required to have a written Code of Conduct that describes what an agency or what employees can and cannot do, particularly not soliciting or receiving gifts beyond a nominal expense. Next, the consistency with the consolidated plan and analysis of impediments to fair housing choice. Again, this is not applicable to the NOFA under this year. Next, other requirements. Please see Section 3C4 of the NOFA for additional details on how other requirements listed in the previous slide are different from the general section and for a list of program-specific requirements. Again, we strongly encourage you to review and analyze both the general section of the NOFA as well as the program section of the NOFAs. Next, we'll discuss briefly the registration process via grants.gov. Please keep in mind that registration for grants.gov is a multi-step process that can take anywhere from up to 2 to 4 weeks or longer to complete if there are data issues or information that needs to be resolved. All applicants that do not have a valid registration will not be able to submit an application through grants.gov. It is critical that the applicant has access to grants.gov and is fully registered. Again, if you do not have a valid registration via grants.gov, you will not be able to submit an application. Next, regarding the registration process for grants.gov. As you see on the screen here, there are a couple of steps that you need to take if your authorized organization representative has changed. You must follow the registration steps below to have a new one registered and authorized to submit the application. First, complete your AOR or your Authorized Organization Representative profile on grants.gov and create a username and password. The DUNS number is needed to complete this process. Secondly, the applicant organization e-business point of contact, or the eBiz POC, must log into grants.gov to confirm the AOR. Thirdly, the AOR confirms his or her status as authorized applicant to submit an application on behalf of the organization. Continuing with the registration process, if your eBiz point of contact is changed in the SAM registration, please make sure that the new eBiz point of contact grants permission to the person submitting the application to be the AOR. A registration checklist or step-by-step registration instructions and other important information may be found at www.grants.gov. Most of your questions regarding grants.gov registration can be answered and found at that website. Next, let's talk about the submission process via grants.gov. Again, applicants must submit applications electronically via the grants.gov website portal by the application deadline date. Only in extreme circumstances will an applicant be approved a waiver from the requirement of the electronic submission. Please see Section 4A of the NOFA for more information. In the past, we have not granted waivers for the electronic submission process unless there was something critical or something dire in the local community, such as a natural disaster. So again, please make sure that you are registered via grants.gov and submit your applications electronically. Next, the application submission process. Let's talk about the DUNS number and SAM registration. Please ensure that you have a valid DUNS number and active SAM registration. If you do not, you will not be able to submit your application. The SAM registrations must be renewed and revalidated at least every 12 months from the date the applicant last certified and submitted the registration in SAM, or sooner if the applicant's information has changed. This is critical to submitting your application. If you're unsure, please go back and look at that SAM registration process to make sure that you're renewed and validated in that SAM process. It generally takes at least 48 to 72 hours to complete the revalidation process. However, obtaining an initial SAM registration can take several weeks. Let's continue talking about the application process via grants.gov. First, you want to visit or go to grants.gov. Once you get to grants.gov, in the top portion of the screen, please select Search Grants. When you search for a grant, you have a few options to search either by keyword, but we strongly recommend that you search by funding opportunity number. And for this NOFA, it is FR 5900-N-04, or you can search by the CFDA number, which is 14.896. Again, the funding opportunity number, FR 5900-N-04, or the CFDA number is 14.896. Once you have entered either of those search criteria, the screen will look like what you see on the PowerPoint presentation. The opportunity title, the agency name, the open and close date. Next, you want to download the application. Please select the application package tab. Again, on the screen, you'll see the synopsis detail, the version history, the full announcement. Please get to the last tab, application package. Once you get to the application package, you see something on the far right. Again, please review the CFDA number, the funding opportunity number, the competition number, as well as the competition title. You want to make sure that you're downloading the correct application package. On the far right of the screen, you see a highlighted link or a link for download. Please select Download. Once you select the download option, you should get another prompt or another screen. As you're reviewing the screen, you have an option. You can either enter your email address in the bottom portion and confirm your email address. Again, by providing the email information, you'll receive any updates or any changes to the NOFA. If you do not wish to be notified of any changes, simply select that checkbox underneath. No, I do not wish to provide my email address. If you do not, again, simply check that box and press submit. Now quickly, let's talk about application forms. Again, please remember, just like previous years, forms are found on both the application package download as well as the application instructions download. Again, please remember, download both the application package and the application instructions files to ensure that you complete all of the required forms. So again, please download both application package and application instructions. Both contain forms that you will need. Next, let's download the application package. When you're prompted on the screen, simply press the download application package link. The application package forms, the forms within this package are the mandatory forms that are already open, and they're available if you scroll down the page. Should you need access to an optional form here, simply select the checkbox to the left of the form name, and the form will become available below. Only submit optional forms if they apply to you. And we'll see what those application package forms look like. The application package download contains 2 mandatory forms. First, the SF-424, the application for federal assistance, as well as the HUD 2880. The optional forms are the SF-LLL. If that form is not applicable to you, do not send with your application. You'll also find attachment form. Use this when attaching documents to your application. A third optional form is the HUD 96011. And you should use this when faxing documents with your application. First, let's discuss briefly the SF-424. Always, always, always complete this form first. It will fill in sections in other forms of other parts of the form automatically. The specific instructions on how to complete this form are found in section 4B, 2B of your NOFA. Next, the HUD form 2880, or the Applicant Recipient Disclosure Update Report. Again, responses to these threshold questions under Part 1 of the form determines whether or not the rest of the form must be completed. Let's look at this form. Part 1, are you applying for assistance for a specific project or activity? The answer will always be yes. The second question, have you received or do you expect to receive assistance with the jurisdiction of the department, HUD, involving the project or activity in this application in excess of $200,000 during the fiscal year? Again, if you're not applying for funding above $200,000, please select no. However, if you're requesting funding above that $200,000, please select yes and complete parts 1 or 2. Next, let's discuss faxes, or HUD form 96011. This form is no longer required if you're not sending faxes with your application. Please note that while HUD will continue to accept faxes in 2015, HUD intends to eliminate the use of fax technology in FY 2016. Let's continue with information about the fax, or the fax form. In preparation for that change, the 2015 General Sections offers applicants a new option to use email for those documents where fax are currently allowed. The email address is applicationsupport@hud.gov, and it's listed on your screen. Also, please note that HUD will not accept entire applications sent by email or fax, and will disqualify applications that are submitted entirely in that manner. So again, it's really important that you submit your applications via grants.gov. And the only way for you to submit applications via grants.gov is if you have a valid SAM registration. Another note on faxes. Again, please use that HUD 96011 form as the cover sheet if you submit any fax attachments, or they will not be attached to your application. So again, that fax cover sheet is critical. If you're faxing something with your application, that fax cover sheet must be attached with it. Again, please make sure to use that fax cover sheet from the same application package that you submit. Again, there is a unique identifier on that facsimile transmittal form. If it does not match the unique identifier with your application, HUD will not be able to match the faxes that you received with your application submission. So again, please make sure the fax cover sheet matches the application. Another quick note on faxes. If you are resubmitting an application that was previously validated by grants.gov, all documents faxed in support of the original submission must be either attached to the grants.gov resubmission or faxed again using the form 96011. Again, if you're faxing, you must fax the materials, including materials faxed by a third party, after the resubmitted application has been validated by grants.gov. Please look at the general section of the NOFA for additional details. Next, let's talk about the application instruction forms. And again, in the application instruction download contains a few things that you'll need. First, you'll see a copy of the general section of the NOFA, a copy of the FSS program NOFA. You'll also find HUD form 52651. Again, this is the FSS program coordinator funding form that Ms. Rodriguez mentioned, as well as the HUD 96010, the logic model. And again, these forms are found in the application instruction download. First, let's talk a little bit about the HUD 52651, or the FSS application form. Again, please pay particular attention in the program NOFA on what the requirements are, particularly for Part 1A. Really quickly, I want to highlight some information in Part 2B regarding new positions. For funding Category 2 applicants, again, PHAs that are requesting a funding increase for a part-time renewal position that is increasing to a full-time position. Please see Appendix C of the NOFA. It provides a great visual representation of how to fill out this form. Again, please read Section 4B2C of the NOFA carefully for specific instructions on how to fill out this form. Next, let's discuss the logic model, or the form 96010. Please do not make this form into a PDF form. Do not use any previous versions of the logic model. Please download the logic model that is included in the FY 2015 application package only. And also read the instructions tab carefully. Regarding the logic model, you always start entering the information with the cover sheet tab. Only the cover sheet, the worksheet, and the reporting tabs are used to enter information. All the other tabs are reference tabs or tabs with instructional information. The logic model has the same functionality and content changes as it had in the FY 2014 logic model. So for example, all of the projection and annual fields are unlocked so that there is no longer any locking or unlocking required for reporting. All applicants are only submitting one logic model under this NOFA, which includes projected measures for both public housing and HCV persons or households as applicable. Continuing on with the logic model, as in the FY 2014 logic model, you must provide a projection for every activity or output and every outcome that's listed, even if that projection is 0. For the application, fill out only the projection column at this time. The annual column is only used when reporting. Do not fill out at this time of the initial application. Continuing on with the logic model, the field office will review the logic model with you before they send it to the initial database to have the projections aggregated. So again, your field office may have some discussion with you about what some of your projections are per activity or service for each activity. If you have questions on the logic model format of the function, please contact the Office of Strategic Planning and Management at the number listed in the Instruction tab within the logic model itself. Reporting on the logic model. Grantees will submit the annual performance report or the updated logic model to the ONAP Public Housing Director at the grantee's local field office no later than January 30th, 2017, unless granted an extension by HUD. As Ms. Rodriguez mentioned, the reporting period will cover the 2016 calendar year, January 1st, 2016 to December 31st, 2016. Continuing with reporting on the logic model. You may enter a number other than 0 in the annual columns even if you had previously entered 0 in the projection columns for the same activity or output or outcome, only if you have engaged in the activity or achieved the outcome during the reporting period. If you did not engage in the activity or achieve the outcomes as you had originally projected, you must enter 0 in the annual column. Next, you'll see on your screen a sample of the logic model. In this example, the applicant had projected that 0 families would be linked to child care services, but in their annual accomplishments or in the annual column, they actually served or they linked 15 families to child care services during the reporting period, and they indicated as such. 0 in the projection column, 15 in the annual. For the outcome of associate degrees obtained, this applicant projected that no persons would achieve the outcome, which is what ended up happening during that reported period. So again, if you look at column 6, outcomes, education associate degree, projection is 0, annual is 0. Continuing on in reporting as it relates to PIC. It's important that reporting also includes entering information on the FSS addendum on HUD Form 50058. Enrollment and exit reports are completed at the beginning and at the end of a family's participation in FSS. A progress report must be completed at least annually during each family's participation in the program. For additional details on PIC reporting requirements, please see PIH Notice 2011-65. It's very important that grantees or PHAs complete or provide updated information on the FSS addendum for each family that's being served in the program. Continuing on to reporting in VMS, or the Voucher Management System. Due to the combined funding streams, PHAs will no longer use VMS to report HCV FSS coordinator expenses for funds made available under this NOFA, under the FY 2015 NOFA. However, PHAs must continue to report HCV FSS coordinator expenses into the VMS system for HCV FSS funds made available under the FY 13 or earlier HCV FSS NOFA. Again, if you have received funding for 2013 or earlier, you must report those FSS coordinator expenses in the VMS system. PHAs must also continue to enter the amount of HCV FSS escrow deposits and HCV FSS escrow forfeitures into the VMS system. Next, amounts expended in excess of the FSS grant for the FSS coordinator salary and benefits, as well as those additional costs associated with administration of the FSS program, such as office space, computer cost, office supplies, which were allocated to the HCV program, must be reported in VMS as administrative expenses. PHAs with an FSS program serving both public housing and HCV families with costs that are not chargeable to funds awarded under this NOFA will be required to develop a cost allocation method that allocates these expenses fairly between the two programs. Please look at the REACT Accounting Brief number 23 for more information on how to record and account for FSS expenses. FSS Accounting Brief number 23 can be found at the website below, or you can type in your search engine back at your desk, FSS Accounting Brief number 23 in HUD, and this should appear. Next, let's talk about some application hints. Again, grants.gov has tons of information on registering. So again, please visit the grants.gov/web grants, etc. Please look at that website that's noted on your screen to get more information about the grants.gov registration process. We also encourage you to register for updates with grants.gov. Again, you'll also be given the option when you go to the download application instructions. Once you have submitted your application, after your application has been received, your application still must be validated by grants.gov. During that process, your application might be validated or it might be rejected with errors. To know whether your application was rejected with errors and the reasons why, you must log into grants.gov, select applicants from the top navigation, and select Track My Application from the drop-down list. It's critically important that you find out the status of your application by using this process. If your status is validated, that means that your application was forwarded or will be forwarded to HUD by grants.gov. Please do not assume that the application has been successfully submitted until you receive that validation notice. We also recommend that applicants submit their applications at least 48 to 72 hours before the deadline. Any submission attempt less than 48 hours before the deadline may not allow the applicant enough time to research the reason for the problem, make the correction, and resubmit. If your application is received by grants.gov before the deadline but is rejected with errors, you have a grace period of 1 day beyond the application deadline to submit a corrected application that's received and validated by grants.gov. Again, there is no grace period for paper applications. Application status. HUD has received your application when it says your application has been reviewed by the grantor agency and assigned an agency tracking number. This means that it's been received and validated. There's nothing else that grants.gov can tell you at that time. So again, you always want to look at the validation, the status is validated, as well as this other note, your application has been reviewed by the grantor agency and assigned an agency tracking number. A few application status related hints. If there's a problem with your application submission, an email will be sent to the person designated in your registration, not within your application form, because we will not have had an opportunity to read your application yet. Make sure that the person designated in your registration is checking his or her email in anticipation of a validation email. A few other hints. Please make sure that someone will be available to cure any deficiencies both at the time of application submission and during the competition processing time. If the point of contact for the application goes on vacation, please designate someone to cover for them and make sure that any emails sent to the point of contact are forwarded to the designated person. A few other hints. Please save every email correspondence, the email validation, the log or call number every time you call the help desk, etc. This may become crucial if there is a problem. If we have to do any research on what happened with an application or a submission, it's critical that we have either an email confirmation, a log number, a call number that we can do some research on. Again, save all fax transmission sheets that your fax machine produces. If you need additional help with grants.gov, again, as I mentioned, there are tons of resources available to you. But again, please follow up with grants.gov at support@grants.gov or call the 800 number that's listed on your screen. Or visit the resource page for applicants at the link below. Please do not contact the program office with grants.gov related questions. Again, all grants.gov related questions should go to grants.gov help desk. With help for the SAM registration process, should you need help, please contact the Federal Service Desk, or FSD, at the 866 number listed on your screen. Remember that some SAM.gov related issues may take several weeks to correct. So again, if you're having difficulties or challenges with the SAM registration process, please contact them early. For general section related questions, the 2015 general section questions, please call the Office of Strategic Planning, Management, Grants Management, and Oversight Division at the number on your screen, 202-708-0667. Again, persons with hearing or speech impairments may access this number via TTY by calling the Federal Relay Service at the number below, 800-877-8339. For questions about LOCKSS, or the Line of Credit Control System, if you have questions about the LOCKSS process or you are experiencing problems accessing LOCKSS, please contact OCFO's User Support Branch at the number on your screen, 877-705-7504, or email them at cfosecurity@hud.gov. For additional information on the LOCKSS access process, please visit the link that you see on the screen below. If you need assistance from the program office regarding the FSS program or the FSS program requirements, please email the HUD headquarters FSS team at fss@hud.gov, and it's also listed on your screen above. For a few additional resources that are available to you, please look at the link also on your screen, hud.gov/offices ADM/grants/funds avail avail.cfm. You will see some other resources that are available to you. Thank you so much for being attentive, taking note, and watching the FY 2015 Family Self-Sufficiency Program NOFA webcast. As Ms. Rodriguez mentioned, we strongly encourage you to review the general section of the NOFA as well as the program section of the NOFA. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out or contact the POCs that are listed in the NOFA, in either NOFA, as well as sending us an email at fss@hud.gov, fss@hud.gov. Thank you for watching.